To kind of kick it off though, I was actually asked if I would run through my business gift approach here at the booth. And don't get me wrong, we have amazing business gift reps here. You've already heard from several of them. To really learn the super detailed scripts and the 8 or 9 questions, Rob Robinchuk's incredible on that. But I've definitely had a lot of success using a really simple approach. And I think that that's the key, is just figuring out how all of us can implement as many of the programs here as effectively and confidently as we can. In the last 2 months, all at the booth, I closed an order for 50 shears, for 55 petite santokus, for 10 gut hooks, 20 gut hooks to another customer, 10 lockbacks, and a bunch of K-bar explorers. And honestly, that was just fumbling around, but I did $50,000-$60,000 in business at the booth this last year, mostly in the fall, just by adding some really simple business gift scripts in. So gonna get a chance to kind of kick it off with that, and then we'll turn over to Bert and really give you guys the muscle. So for me, business gifts are very much positioned as an upsell. So I'm going to have my order form. I'm old school like that. We're going to write it up, and then I'm just going to go through with my customer, and you guys get to be the customer. So, hey, by the way, what do you guys actually do for work? Oh, wow, that's fascinating. So do you own the business? Oh, man, that's really, really cool. That's so awesome. Well, by the way, do you guys ever give away gifts as appreciation gifts for employees, for vendors, for top clients, anything like that? Oh, wow, you do? Oh, that's really cool. The reason I ask is because I actually work with business owners providing just quality corporate gifting solutions. And it's pretty great because we're actually able to digitize your logo and your brand and put that on our products. And people just love it because it's aligning with a company that's been around forever. It's American made, and it's just something that consistently reinforces your brand. And, I work with a lot of customers, and they really love this because Cutco is so high quality. It's American made. It's practical. It's something that people get a lot of use and value out of. And then on top of that, it tends to come out in social settings. And so it's just always doing the work of really reinforcing your brand and reinforcing your business and just kind of what you're all about. It's a permanent business card. How's that? And everybody loves Cutco. So yeah, just a couple of the, to kind of give you an idea, a couple of the examples here. One of my customers, they're home appraisers, and this is one of theirs right here. And in the past, they had always done consumable goods. They did bottles of wine, they did gift cards, they did things like that. And, it was always appreciated, of course, but ultimately it was just kind of there and gone. And it wasn't really having that long-term effect they were hoping for. And they just kind of realized they'd spent thousands of dollars over the years, and it just wasn't really getting them the solution they wanted other than that one cool interaction. So they've been really excited. I've worked with them for about 3 years now doing their corporate gifting. This one right here, I love. This is like the coolest knife on my table. I saw you eyeing it before. This is one of our Cutco K-bar knives. And this is actually an earth moving company that I work with. They do trucking, they do bulldozing services, earth moving. And in the past, they had really just done hats and shirts and koozies and things like that. And I mean, honestly, it was kind of more swag than quality gifts. And, as they were starting to get bigger accounts and do bigger bids, and, they actually turned over a few employees, they wanted to really make sure they were kind of locking in their team and just had a better image. So they actually switched over to this. And I think they have some of the coolest, funnest gifts out of anyone that I get a chance to work with. Probably one of my favorite clients is actually one of my insurance companies right here. And in their case, I've been working with them for a couple of years now. Every year they'll do 80 to 120 gifts, and we're able to get them a really, really nice discounted rate. The more people are getting, the more that we're able to sort of offer off on the price there. But in their case, the reason why they really love Cutco for their corporate gifts is because it just took it off their plate. It just got to a point where it was just something that was taking up time from the business owner, from his executive assistant, and it just allowed them to focus more on their business instead of kind of coming up with gifting solutions or running around at the last second. They really let me just kind of be a part of their team. And so every year I'm able to come and bring them a couple different options to make sure that, we hit their budget, and it just has a really, really strong response. So that one's always really fun. This one here is actually one of my dentists, and they never had done gifts. And honestly, I don't know that my dentist has ever given me anything cool, but they found out one of their colleagues, they were at like a professional luncheon, and they found out that they had like these tiered gifts they did when people had been with them for 5 years and 10 years and 20 years, and that they got tons of referral business from that. And so Dr. Williamson just realized she was leaving a lot on the table and not doing that. So we've been able to come up with some really, really cool solutions for them. This one right here, this was kind of a fun one because God bless Colt. Him and his wife are really cool people, and they take great care of their employees. they've always done cash bonuses, and obviously everyone loves cash. Like that's never a bad thing. And they still do that. But what they decided to do was start peeling away just a little bit of that and investing it in some gifting solutions. And what was kind of funny was they found out how many of their employees never even shared with their spouse they were getting bonuses at the end of the year. And so it was just kind of this funny thing where it was like, oh, it's just fun money. But by doing this, at least it got it in their home, and the spouses felt taken care of and they felt a real part of it. And, it's just kind of that happy spouse, happy house type thing. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons why people use us for gifting purposes. But in your case, just out of curiosity, who usually makes the decisions for your company? Oh, it's you. Okay, you and your wife. That's awesome. Well, I know she loves Cutco. That's why you're buying her that set. So that part's pretty fun. Well, let me show you really quick just some of the promotions, some of the volume pricing that we have here, blah, blah, blah. We kind of go through that. So just out of curiosity, we've gone through that option. Out of curiosity, if we found an option today that you really, really fell in love with, and I could just blow you away with a really great deal, do you think that's something you might consider just making a decision on today? We could just pull the trigger, because the benefit for you would be not only will we get you that Cutco discount, but by doing it here at the show, I can bundle it with the deals that we have here. So what do you think? Is that something you think might even be in play? If they say no, we schedule a follow-up. But if they say yes, it's really easy. I just go, fantastic. Well, hey, give me a shot. Let me see if I just blow you away with this. And then my parting shot, no matter what, I always get something back in their hand. And I go, I got to tell you, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, I really can't wait to do business with you. And what I'm most excited about, and I'll hand him the knife, and I go, I'm most excited for the first time you open that box and you see this just beautiful, beautiful knife. It's heavy, it's gorgeous, and it's got your logo on it. It's such a cool experience because this is your business. You've built this up. It's a huge part of you. It's a huge part of your family. And just seeing it on there, it is a cool experience. I get that feedback from every business owner I work with, and I really can't wait for y'all to experience it too. That's basically it. It's quick. It's not clean like a lot of people's, but it doesn't have to be. Just have some fun with it, be sincere. And of course, the most important thing is just be really consistent, asking and offering every single time. I also think having some stories in your own samples out, kind of like they talked about earlier in the breakout, I think that's a real win too. No, usually I try to find something, I try to give examples for things that are the closest to their industry. So if they're blue collar, I have builders and architects and earth movers. If they're kind of service professionals, I have a dentist. If they're real estate agents, I have that. If they're insurance or financial services, I have that. So it's generally either something I think will resonate with them, like sort of taking it off their plate, or it's something that's just more in line with whatever industry they're in. But if we're in high rapport and they'll spend the time with me, sure, I'll go through as many of them as it seems like they're still interested. So I just want to say really quick, Rob Robinchek, he kind of blew my mind at our State Fair, Texas kind of retreat that we had. And he was just sort of sharing with me how many times it's normal for him to have to communicate with the businesses that he does. And then he also just reiterated how a lot of salespeople are honestly bad at their jobs. Not directed necessarily at Vector and Cutco, but I think if we're honest, we could take that on the nose. And one of my, probably 2 of my 4 biggest business gift orders I had last year, and again, I'm not doing 100K orders, but I had a couple 8, 10K orders. 2 of the biggest ones, I think there were 12 to 13 follow-up emails, and one of them I actually went and met with them in their office. So half of them, for my biggest ones, I closed at the booth. The other half, it did take follow-up, and it was a lot more consistent follow-up, and that's where the tools from National and also a few things that Rob really brought to our team were super helpful. Having like the lead sheet where I could take more detailed notes than I had in the past, and I could reference and name drop more effectively because it was there. Having the trifold from National, even just having the signage out. It's so simple, but like this is like the best $40 that should be in every booth display. Last time I ordered these, I ordered 5 of them, just so that way I could just sort of have them distributed as we need them. So that's the answer for me. But Bert's probably more developed systems than I have.
No, I would say it's pretty similar. Just like you have to have a system in place. So like for me, one of the things that I do is, within paper order forms, what I do is I'll always put down biz. I'll circle that, right? So when I send my assistant the orders to get rolloed, what they'll do is they'll make sure to also put them into my drip campaign for businesses, right? Which is essentially right now, it's a pretty simple, just they send out the market, or they basically send out an email with like the pricing on like the business gift, and it's basically kind of like, here's why you should pick Cutco, right? And then usually within my notes, it's cool, who do I need to talk to? It's also what is this person interested in? What is that person's role within the company? And also, like, it's a judgment call, right? But would sending a sample be worth it? But it's also important that if you think your gut says maybe, put sample question mark, right? And then also put a thing of like what that would be a good idea, like what knife they were most excited about. So then when you do end up going into your CRM, you have all the notes, you have all the things, and then I also set a task to follow up 2 weeks after the order's been processed. A, make sure they got the thing that they wanted, that they ordered, and then also just follow up again on that conversation. What I've been doing, this is all from John Clovey, which is how can I make sure that the sample I am sending is actually worth my money, right? So it's like calling them again, being like, hey, just making sure you got the order that you placed, just following up again, just to kind of like revisit what we talked about at the booth, just kind of seeing where you're at with the idea of the gifting. Did you get the opportunity to talk to your partner? Do you still have interest in that? And it's simple, but like if they don't have interest, it's okay to just like add them to your list and then revisit next year, right? But if they have interest, like, oh yeah, I totally forgot, I'm going to mention to it. It's like, hey, if they're going to talk to them on Tuesday, call them on Wednesday. So just be good about follow up, and I think that's going to help you close more. That's going to help you close bigger orders. But it's just about every person's system is different. But it's like, how can you just trap yourself into following up? Is my question for myself, which is why I'm not better.
Two other real quick thoughts. I think having an engraved outdoorsman, I know from this far back it's hard to see, it pops. It is very, very eye-catching and substantial. But I also think a lot of people, their business gift samples are really lacking in more blue-collar industries. I had one of my construction companies. When I say construction, they're the builders. I mean, it's Arturo Construction, and they did 20 K-bars and 30 lockbacks. This is, again, a bulldozing company, and they literally mailed me a koozie. That's how I got their logo. And I was like, this is unusable, and we just did a new one for them. I sold to a handyman. This guy's just like a literally local handyman, and he bought 10 of these gift sets because he's like, I only do 8 to 10 jobs a year, but that pays for my entire year. So these are high dollar things. So I think a lot of our stuff, it's so specific to realtors or banks or things like that. If you can have things specific to you, but in any of the national samples, if we had more blue collar type things, I think that's a massively underserved area with a lot of our gifting strategies.